Okay, welcome to the 2022 Junior Info Night. Glad you guys are here. If you could mute yourself upon entry, that would be awesome. So I am Jennifer Tracewell, and I am one of our college career advisors for Baker Early College and Baker Webb Academy. So in the room tonight, we have a mix of families from both the Webb Academy and the Early College and the Webb College. And we have staff from both schools here. Most of you are juniors or the family members of juniors in high school. So that is me. We're super glad you're here tonight. And I want to pass the mic to Shelly to introduce herself.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Shelly Penny, and I'm on the west side of Portland as a BWA school counselor on the Webb Academy side.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
And over to you, Monica.
Okay, my name's Monica Wheeler, and I'm the counselor for the Eugene region on the BWA side.
Awesome. Thank you. Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie Leach, and I am Baker Early College advisor, and I have a handful of different colleges. So I have a couple in the Valley and then Central Oregon. So thanks for taking time to be here with us.
Awesome. Thank you guys. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and you guys can kind of give me a thumbs up if you can see this okay. Awesome. So I'm going to be nice if I landed on the correct slide. There we go. Okay, so welcome officially to Junior Info Night, and it's really an exciting time to be a junior in high school. And it's a big year. I always say the junior year is the hardest year. I actually have a junior in high school right now. So I am right there with you, moms and dads and caregivers. And it is, you know, a little tough at times. There's a lot on the table to happen your junior year. So I'm right there empathizing with you. So I'm one of your college career counselors, actually advisor for myself. And I serve all of BWA, the Baker Webb Academy, and for the early college, I serve those of you in the Portland, Eugene, Salem regions for any like special college career needs you have, you know, in addition to, you know, your regular counselor. Allison Steife, who is out on maternity leave right now. She's not here tonight, but I still wanted to have her pictured here. She serves the early college, Central, Eastern, and Southern regions. And so she will be back soon. Oops, I didn't mean to have two of those slides. So we'll keep you muted for right now just to reduce our noise. We'll open up the mic when we're all done, but please feel free to use that chat box as we go. Post your questions, send us an email, schedule an appointment, whatever you need. Actually, those of you in the room tonight, Monica, Shelly, Jamie, if you could please put your emails in the chat box. Now that folks know what regions you're in and they can see your faces, they know that they can reach out to any one of you. That would be awesome. So let's start with the top 5 to-dos as a junior in high school. There's a lot more than 5. I tried to narrow this down. The junior year is a really heavy, big year. And you may not fit into any one of these categories, like maybe you're not college bound, so you can ignore the college stuff we share. Or maybe you know you're going to go to a trade school, or you're going to take a gap year or go to the military. Just really keep an open mind to everything we share tonight, because sometimes plans do change and you end up deciding on, you know, a pathway that maybe you hadn't anticipated. I can attest to that as a mom. I had a son who thought he was going to, you know, just go into the workforce and maybe do community college. And now he's in the US military and following a path he never dreamed that he would have. So keep an open mind as we share lots of stuff tonight. So we're going to start with talking about interests and careers. And I think it's important to keep that at the heart of everything you think about when you are planning on what is the best pathway to get you to that career, whether it's, you know, community college, a 4-year university, a trade school, a military, you know, and so forth. We will talk about college tonight and how to find your college fit. I know a lot of you in the room tonight already know your dream college and have that plan. And hopefully I can just add some more information to that. We'll talk about entrance exams. And again, this is specific to college bound kids. And I'll give you a few tips and some pieces of advice. There's a lot of gray areas right now in the world of SAT, ACT, but we'll give you some direction on that. How to prepare a college application, which I'm going to strongly advise that you start this summer so that you can hit the ground running in the fall and, especially like be ready for any early application deadlines. And then financial aid. So again, this really is hitting that college group that's here tonight, whether it's a community college, some trade schools, except the FAFSA and, the four-year universities. So, all right, let's start with where I think we should all start with, what do I even want to do with my life? Because that could, help guide the specific pathway that you even want to go on and, which vehicle you're going to take to get there. So ways to explore careers and interests there's just a few of them. Extracurriculars, that's any extra, meaning outside of your school, outside of your academic coursework. So those are things like, sports or music, theater, any clubs or things you do when you're not doing schoolwork. That's extracurricular. Internships, that's just a fancy word for a job, but it's a little different than just a job. You could work at the same place and it could be an internship or a job. Let's say if you're working at Starbucks and all you're doing is you're being a barista, that's a job. It's an internship if you're there to learn about maybe the supply chain of the coffee industry and where the beans come from. Like you're learning about the career aspect of that, then it's an internship. So it's really how you look at that. But typically it's a job placement, paid or unpaid. Then we're going to talk about classes, and my counselors in the room tonight are going to speak a little bit to how you can use your classes to support a career interest or explore whether you are or not interested in, something in specific. And then job shadowing. I have some great tools that I'll introduce you to tonight. So I'll start with, what do you value? And how would I know that based on how you spend your time? So when you're thinking about what do I want to do with my life, I would encourage you to stop right now and think of, what am I doing with my time? Because that is a big indicator of what you value the most. I could say the same thing about money. I have a financial advisor who says, follow your money, and that's going to tell you what your priorities are. And the same thing is true about time. What you spend your time doing displays some of your priorities in life. So pay attention to that. And if you find that you're spending a lot of time on something that you don't really value, maybe you can shift where you want to put that time, because, time does equal money and value and knowledge. So anyway, so that first circle that I mentioned with extracurriculars, I just have 3 main points for you. Number 1, try to gain leadership roles in whatever it is that you're doing, if it's sports or community service. And this is especially important, for those of you who are college bound and you have to develop a resume and fill out applications, and they have all these, questions of what you've been involved in and if you had a leadership role. But it's not just to check a box. It is to dig a little deeper into that area and stretch yourself. See if you can, grow your qualities and traits, and, expand what you can offer as you go into the workforce and into college. So do your best on that. Maybe you're secretary of an organization, or you're the person who's doing, media, social media, or, whatever it is. Just like put yourself out there, stretch yourself in whatever organization that you're in. And maybe you're not in one, and we are all here to help you find one. So if any of you in the room are really stuck because you're in an online school and it looks really different than your local brick and mortar that might have a key club or all these like live organizations, we have a lot of that too. We do have some groups here at the Web Academy, and those of you in the early college, your colleges have a lot of organizations that you could tap into. So just want to plug that. And actually, now I'm going to pause for half a second. Who in the room knows of a couple of clubs that are already available to them through the Web Academy or the early college? So you can put it in the chat box, or if you are one of my counselors, you can take to the mic and just say one or two things that you know about. Jamie Leach, I am going to call on you because I know you know about one particular club that we have.
Yes. So another thing that I help with at Baker is the National Honor Society. So we do have a BWA side and a BDC side, but we have monthly meetings where we all get together and just talk about different ways that we're, giving back to our community and service and different stuff. And there's lots of good scholarships along with that and everything. So yes, I do know about that. And then I also have a student at COCC, so the Central Oregon Community College in Bend. She joined a astronomy club. I thought that was really neat and interesting at the college. So just a fun little thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie.
I just wanted to pop in and say, I know that there are a few groups that are up and coming. There's going to be like a Spanish get together club in the Eugene region. And then there is a social justice club that is just starting, offered to the entire school. So that also would look good.
Oh, thank you, Monica. Yes, I've been seeing that one. I'm excited to see that get off the ground. Shelley, anything that we're missing?
I was going to mention there are a lot of community service activities and things you can do. We just did one for Earth Day last week. Cleanup crews, places you can go in your community to help people and in your region. So lots of that at Baker Web Academy.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Shelley. Yeah, and that last point you guys all kind of spoke to with the volunteering, community service. I have noticed in the last, I don't want to say like maybe 5 years on both college applications and scholarship applications, they place a heavy emphasis on what you've done in your community. So definitely, look at what we offer, put yourself out there, take it upon your own responsibility to look and see what's in your community, any needs, any places that even young people can go to volunteer, whether it's a senior center or a food bank, or just find something that trail cleanup. If you're a real outdoorsy person, there is something that you can for sure spend your time doing. So there you go. All right, next, internships. This is a hard one, you guys. Just in terms of us as a school telling you, go here for this internship, because we're a school that serves the entire state of Oregon. And it's always a little bit challenging, in my role to help, line people up. I happen to live in Central Oregon. So if you live in that region, I dialed in with our internships. But again, I said earlier about the internships, it's a job with a special focus on learning more about that industry. And sometimes you can even get college credit or a high school credit for an internship. And it's a way to do career exploration. Now, everything that you see hyperlinked, that's going to have an underline in this slideshow, takes you to a website that I want you to look at. And just because of the time tonight, and I have so many slides to get through, I'm not going to click on every link, but this will get posted by tomorrow on our blog. And actually, I'm going to have one of you put our blog address in the chat box, and we'll probably email this out as well, but all of these links will be available. So each region, I did come up with some central places to look for internships. Like in Central Oregon, it's called Youth Career Connect. Eugene has like Lane County Elevate or something. Like every region tends to have some basic youth organization for internships where you can look for specific jobs, getting career experience. We put together a career guidebook a number of years ago, so I have a link to that is still really relevant. There's Central Oregon's Youth Career Connect, just as an example, and then the Chegg internship search engine. It's really cool. It's a national search engine, but you can filter it by your area and also look for internships that tend to be more geared towards students. high school and college students both. So I would encourage you to do that. And don't shy away from unpaid internships because in the long run, that has a bigger paycheck in terms of the experience of getting potentially hired at a real full-time job someday based on that experience. So it's hard when you don't see the dollar price tag on it at the moment, but if you could have some delayed gratification, don't overlook those because those are incredibly valuable. So just wanted to put that out there. I know getting a paycheck is really nice, but if you see an unpaid internship, that's exactly what the field you want to go into. I would just dive right in and do it. And maybe you can still, have a side job at, Home Depot or Starbucks or something. All right. The next way that I wanted to talk to you all about with figuring out where to go from here is what classes that you choose. And, so along with, figuring out your career and interests, we have a lot of classes both in our early college program and in our web academy that are going to help you explore, some specific, whether it's culinary or art or, STEM based. It's going to really be in your benefit if you can stretch yourself into some classes that you think you might be interested in our electives categories. So our regional counselors meet with their students, maybe juniors at some point this year. You've probably already met with your regional counselor. Our early college students, I know for sure you meet for advising sessions and, just work on aligning your future goals. I have a curriculum guide linked here that I won't click into right now, but that's our Web Academy curriculum guide that will be specific to the Web Academy. But, this is where you really want to lean into your Baker Web Academy counselor or advisory teacher or your early college advisor. Ask lots of questions, find out about our dual credit options where you can get some college credit. You can explore some things outside of the normal core classes. And then I wanted to put a plug in for our capstone A and B class, which is a great college career readiness class that most of our Web Academy, regular diploma students take, and a lot of our early college students take. So this is a great time for me to pass the mic to our counselors in the room because they're the ones who are the experts on helping you choose your classes. So whoever wants to go first and wants to add to what I said.
So those of you who have been with us since the 9th grade year probably met with all of us and learned about the 24 credit we're trying to gain. Same with early college, right? The 24 credits that we're allocating through different subjects. So in the junior year, we'll be really focusing on finishing up those last credits. We'll prioritize the high school credits, even in early college we do, I think, right, Jamie? And then, this is the year you also kind of finish up math. So you should be done with your last math class or starting to be at the end of math so you can take those tests that are coming up. And go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to jump in and say that one thing that when we're meeting with you, whether it's in May or also in the fall, we want you guys to be thinking if you're considering a 4-year university, you're going to probably want to continue. And you're staying with Baker Web Academy. You're going to want to continue with those 4 years of math, 4 years of science. So even if you have met some of the requirements, we will probably be encouraging you to keep your senior year looking rigorous, just because most colleges want to see that you didn't just stop going to school or that you just only did 1 or 2 classes. So that's something to also remember, to keep some rigor in your senior year is important, especially with scholarships.
And also might be good to remember that Spanish credit or the language credit, if you take a foreign language, college admissions like to see 2 credits. So finishing that language you took 2 years or 2 credits.
Thanks for mentioning that, Shelley. A lot of students maybe start out thinking, well, I'm not going to go to a four-year university, so I don't need that 2-year foreign language credit requirement. And then they change their mind. And then they're like up against this like hurdle and barrier of, oh, I can't apply, or it's going to be really hard and I have to do all these other hoops to try to, So I would say, even if you don't think you're 4-year college bound, just get 2 credits of a foreign language. It's good to know. I do a lot of travel, and I know a lot of you in the room do some international travel, and in most other countries in the world, they speak 2, 3, sometimes 4 languages. We're really behind the times in the United States. So it's a great thing to know. We have a super global economy, global world, very mobile. And I think it's just a great cultural exchange. So that's my big plug for, doing that 2 years of a foreign language, no matter what. and I love what Monica shared about, just keeping some rigor in your schedule, not knowing what's ahead for you, just keeping, all of your doors open. All right. And yeah, the curriculum guide, I have a link there for you when you want to look at these slides later. All right, now let's shift gears from those classes. And we talked a little bit about internships and exploring careers. There's a great tool that I actually am going to click this link because I want to show you how everyone in our school now can self-enroll in the virtual job shadow Canvas class. Even normally it's only been accessible to students who are in capstone or an AVID class or a specific college career class. And now we have it available for everybody. And it's really cool because it lets you see a little slice of life of thousands of careers. There's little career videos. There are career assessments in there. So I'm going to show you how to do this really quick. All right, when you all click that link, if you're not already enrolled, it will give you a link to enroll. It says I'm already enrolled. And so I can just go to my dashboard. But for you all who've never clicked this link before, it's going to enroll you in the Canvas class. So Web Academy students, you live in Canvas every day. Early college students, you may not know this, but you have a Baker Web Academy email or a Baker email that you need to use to get into Canvas. And it's different from your community college email. So talk to your advisor, figure out what your Baker email is, and that's how you get into Canvas. So I'm going to go to my dashboard since I'm already in this class. Okay, it's showing all of the classes I teach. Sorry, let me go try to find, okay, here it is, virtual job shadowing. So I'm going to go into modules. And I'm going to do this real quick. I'm so excited about this. You will see some modules we created for you are to look at the life skills videos. And that's just like, workplace skills and time management, all kinds of things like that. There's a module on how to compare colleges, choosing a career, job application, and a goal setting. But what I really want you to go to is this link down here, the virtual job shadow tool. You have to click right here to get to what we call the tool. It's like this, anyway, it's a technical thing that has to get loaded into a new window. All I'm trying to say is you do not Google virtual job shadow and try to log in with your Baker email. It will not work. You have to access it through Canvas, through that link I just clicked. So, and it's going to say your name because it recognizes your Canvas email. And if it doesn't say your name right there, you did something wrong. And so the first thing you're going to see in virtual job shadow is, their featured careers, choreography, education manager, etc. But you have search tools, so you can search specific careers that you're interested in. So obviously whatever they've chosen as their feature of the day may not apply to you at all. So I just encourage you to, use their search tools, look up their careers. In the tools bar is where they have their assessments, which are the career interest surveys. And those are really awesome. If you've never done a career interest survey, you can, start that. And it's like the easiest thing in the world to give like a little face about how you feel about that activity. I really don't like it, dislike, I'm neutral, I like it, I definitely like it. So I'll just do one of them so you can see the types of things. Do I like gathering evidence to solve a case? I teach the capstone class and I have so many students this year who want to be like a forensic scientist. And I'm like, I know what TV show you're watching, but that's a really popular one right now. And maybe I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. And it goes to the next question, the next question. And then at the end of all those questions, it spits out a little report for, oh, based on all of your answers to these, 100 whatever questions, we think these are careers that would fit the things that you like and the things that you're good at. So those are great tools. And then what Virtual Job Shadow does is it not only matches you up with careers that, the system, that tool survey thinks that will fit you, it then gives you all the information you need about that job, a little video that shows a day in the life of that job, and then the colleges that prepare you to go to that job, and here's how much money you'll make in that job. So I don't have time for a full demo right now, but definitely jump into Virtual Job Shadow, and you can just go to the careers tab, or you can go to colleges, jobs, tools though is where I really wanted you to go to start with the assessment, because once you do that initial assessment, it kind of guides you to some of those careers that might really fit you. So that link again will be in the slides, and that's a great way to figure out career interests and even figure out, well, is that the income that's going to support the lifestyle that I hope I have? So there's just so many questions to consider when you think about what you want to do with your life. So yeah, the interest survey, education requirements, and the college search feature of the Virtual Job Shadow is awesome. Okay, and then those of you who are not interested in college, and I have a ton of them. Right now I have 100+ students in my capstone class, and I have a big spreadsheet of who wants to do what with their life, and there are a ton of them.
Jen, come listen.
Oh, sorry. Who have told me, like, I think the number one trade that I've seen so far is welding, just as an example. So that's not typically a 4-year university plan. Well, not ever really, but some people don't realize that it could be a community college plan. There's actually a number of community colleges in Oregon that offer welding. So I don't want you to like rule college out of your brain. You could do community college, get the Oregon Promise Grant. And, I can refer you back to our webinars we've done on how to make sure you apply for those grants in the fall. But I wanted to just make sure everybody was aware of this thing called an apprenticeship, which is a way to get into the trades, either through a community college trade program or through a union apprenticeship, or a non-union apprenticeship. So the link I have here, it's a trade locator, and I will click this really quick just to make you aware of the apprenticeship option. So I've linked you to the Oregon apprenticeship website. And the nice attractive thing about this is it's paid on the job training. There's almost no money out of your pocket, pretty minimal. And so you get training from day one, your paycheck increases as your skills increase. Hands-on training, a lot of our students are like, oh, Ms. Tracel, I just can't sit in a seat. I cannot do college. I just can't do that. That's okay. There's a lot of folks just like you who need a different way of learning. There's still going to be an education component. There's still going to be classes, but it's going to feel a lot different than college. And then, you kind of move up the career ladder. So just wanted to make sure you were aware of this pathway. There are different types of apprenticeships. There's, again, I said, registered, union, non-union. There's a lot of ways to access it, but I would start with this website, and you can search for openings. You can figure out, how do I start this application? What could this possibly look like for me? What jobs are even available in the apprenticeship world? So yeah, there you go. Things like being a lineman or, I mentioned welding, a lot of the construction trades. The list just goes on and on for, great jobs that earn a great wage out the gate. All right. Now I'm gonna switch to college and finding your college fit. And I have, I think, 3 main categories that I'm going to walk you through on finding your college fit, 3 different tools. You can use one of them, 2 of them, all 3 of them. But the first one I wanted to talk to you about is called Big Future. And this is an arm of the College Board. And we have a lot of tools. I wouldn't use all of them. If you have 2 or 3 tools that all do the same thing, just pick one to narrow down, your time and energy. But Big Future, run by the College Board, you have to create an account. This is the same organization that you have to sign up for if you want to take the SAT. So it's kind of nice if you know you're going to take the SAT to just use College Board for your, college search tools. So they have these tools to help you build your college list, where you fill out this little profile of what you're looking for. Do you want a big campus, a small campus, private, public? The list is, nearly endless of how you can tailor, a list to get built for you. And again, this is where you sign up to register for the SAT that we'll talk about in a minute. So that's one tool I wanted to make you aware of. And there's a lot out there. If you just do Google searches for, how do I find the right college fit, you will literally have hundreds of hits. I'm only giving you 3 resources that are fully vetted, that we can stand behind, that we trust. And this is one of them. Next is Overgrad. And the big plug for using Overgrad is that if you are college bound, it is what our school uses to send your transcripts and letters of rec to your colleges. So it is a place you have to go anyway. So that's the big plug for using Overgrad. And that's in addition to, I'm going to just sign in to my demo account to Damiani Carrington. This is a made up student, just to show you kind of what Overgrad looks like from the student view. And you all have been invited to create an Overgrad account at some point. And so you should check your email. If you've never been an Overgrad, I want you to just do a Google search or like an email search of your school email, type in Overgrad, see what pops up, see if you were ever invited, and get your profile set up. Because if you are applying to college in the fall, you have to use this on almost 99% of the time. Most colleges are going to use it. There are exceptions, work with your counselor, but in general, this is the easiest way to get your transcripts and letters of rec sent off. And I'm telling you about it right now because I want you to use it over the summer, well, starting right now, to do those college searches and career searches. So, there's colleges and careers. So again, they have a lot of the same tools that I just showed you. They also have a scholarship search feature. But if I went into the careers section, I could do some searches on, keywords over here on the left and career clusters. If you're really interested in something in art, I could click that and search, and it's just going to kind of give me some careers. And then once I follow a career that I'm interested in, and I advocate starting with what you want to do, not what college do I want to be at. Start with what am I interested in, interest wise or career wise, and then let that guide you to which colleges are the best fit for you. So let's pretend I'm just going to follow that first one. And then I'm going to go over to my profile. I've just followed that career, and I can go down and take a look at, okay, I don't want to get too deep in here, but I promise you, it's going to lead you to colleges that support that career and what education is required and so forth. So that's Overgrad. Again, please check your email for your invitation to set up an account, and you'll be using it quite a lot in the fall of your senior year. And then finally, I wanted to mention virtual tours as a way to get a feel for a school without leaving home. This was really big during COVID where everything was shut down. There are many virtual college tour platforms. I just have linked you to one that's called the College Tour. And it's a cool new kind of TV show kind of format. And so you can look, and they don't have tons of universities on here yet. Just search, and there's uvisit.com, there's collegetour.com, there's a lot of them out there, but what you're going to get, I'll look at the University of Oregon because that's kind of one of our flagship schools, and you're going to get this awesome video, and you'll hear from students who are there. So you can actually almost feel like you're a little bit on campus. And so a lot of them have like 360-degree tours. You can go virtually into a dorm room. So just check that out as you're trying to narrow down your college and you can't really be there in person. The other college visit thing I will say is the preview day. It's also called an open house or a visit day, but that's a great way to experience what it's like to live on campus or to attend a class. What's cool about preview days is that different from those videos that I just showed you, or even from just randomly driving to a campus and walking the grounds, if you sign up for a special preview day, there's often financial assistance available to get you there. It is very planned, and they show you all the important things, get you inside the dorm rooms, get you sitting inside a classroom, and really get a feel for what life is like on that campus. So I would encourage you, if you already have some colleges in mind, to take a look at and see what their schedule is for upcoming preview days. So there's that. Just a plug. All right, this is probably my least favorite part of the presentation, which is entrance exams. The SAT or the ACT or the ASVAB if you're going the military route, but it's never that fun. You might say, but why? You know, lots of colleges don't even require it. And that is true. You may not need to do this, but you need to be prepared for this option. And if you are a decent test taker and you are applying to a college that is, say test optional, meaning you can submit it or not submit it. If you know you're a strong-ish test taker, it's going to enhance your application over students who don't have a score. If you know you're a terrible test taker, I would really search out colleges that don't require it. Just to give you some honest advice. So there are so many colleges that have really done away with the requirement of an SAT or ACT. This because of COVID. That was like the big COVID gift that we all got. We don't have to take the SAT, but some colleges made it permanent. All of the public universities in the state of Oregon are test optional. You don't have to have it, but please still keep it on the table in your mind. I want you to prepare for the unknown. I want you to prepare for that one or two colleges that do still require it, or that it will make a difference in your application, or it will bump you into a scholarship that maybe you wouldn't be in contention for. So please think of all the options as you're deciding, do I take the SAT or the ACT? So if you get over that hurdle, once you do the thought process and you've looked at your colleges, go to their admissions page, and they're going to tell you exactly what they require for admissions, and if an ACT or SAT college entrance exam is required, or if it's optional, or if it's test blind, meaning even if you submit it, they won't even look at it. That's what that means. If you see a test blind school, don't bother with submitting anything. But the first thing you'll need to do is figure out, let's just pretend you've decided I am going to take a college entrance exam. Which one do I take? Pretty much every college will take either or, SAT or ACT. And I would choose a test. I have a fun little quiz here on this link here that can help you decide, which exam is best for me? This, I highly recommend the Magoosh blog. It is a super fun, awesome blog. It has a lot more information than just, college entrance exams, but they have this like really short, like maybe 10-question quiz that after you answer the questions, it looks at your results and tells you, oh, based on how you answer these, we think you would be perform better on this test or this test. So because that is such a easy, low barrier thing, I would take that little quiz. And if you're unsure, maybe some of you already know for sure what you're going to do, but that's fun. Second, make a study plan and stick with it. Do not go in blind, unstudied, unprepped for the SAT or the ACT. You really need a plan. So I have a calendar coming up next. I think the next available test that you can still register for is June. So you have time. You have a little bit of time here if you just jump on this right away. If you choose the SAT, Khan Academy, this is free. I have a whole test prep system for the SAT and the ACT Academy. They've developed their own free test prep. Doesn't need a lot of money or big books that you need to buy. These are really good prep systems, and I would just pick one and stick with it. There's also an app for both of those that you can do on their phone. I know a lot of our students just like get the app on their phone and just, you have it right there, and it seems a little easier for them to just do 10 minutes a day. So definitely brush up a little bit, and then you're just going to take the exam. And if you don't like your score, you can keep studying over the summer and retake it first chance in the fall. But make sure you give yourself enough time for those, if you are planning on early admissions, which is right now, November 1st, November 15th. I know the deadlines keep like inching closer and closer. It's really nutty, but I would get on this. We really encourage you to not wait. I would take a June or July test. So let's take a look at the test dates that we have here. So, what is today? Oh my gosh, today's April 26th. Okay, today you could do late registration. If for some reason you're like, oh, I want to take the May 7th SAT, by midnight tonight, you can do late registration for the May 7th SAT. If that's the one you want. That's funny. I didn't realize that late date was today. And then the June 4th, I would more recommend this one to give yourself some time if you haven't already, studied and prepped. Again, this is for those of you who've decided that it makes sense to take the SAT or ACT. May 5th is right around the corner. That's like in a week or something. So you want to get yourself registered. You don't want to have to pay late fees, like ignore the late column unless you absolutely have to use it because it's extra fees. And then there are 2 ACT dates coming up, June 11th and July 16th. So look at those registration dates, and I have those links on that previous slide. It is costly to take the SAT and ACT. I don't have the exact numbers in my head, but it's somewhere around $40, $50. Maybe it's inched up to 60. Does anyone know the exact numbers? It's just not cheap. However, we have fee waivers. If you have qualified for free or reduced lunch, then you qualify for a fee waiver for SAT or ACT. And if you want to know if you qualify, you can check with your advisory teacher, your counselor. You guys, is Stormy still the one who does the fee waivers? We think so. Okay.
I think so. It was a little confusing with ACT this year. I know that. And our principal, Kate, had to help us, but
Oh, that's right. Okay, Jamie, could you put Kate's email in the chat? So those of you with the early college, Kate Saldana might be the person that you need to contact to get a fee waiver. If you're unsure if you might qualify for a fee waiver, just please ask, because that's it's a significant amount of money and it adds up. And if you qualify, we want to make sure that you get that fee waiver. I think I'll figure out this funding issue. If you want to take the SAT or ACT, please let your counselor or advisory teacher know. Even if you don't qualify for a fee waiver, we may have other funds to cover it. Just please let us know, and we will do everything we can to help you get over that barrier of having to pay for a test fee. All right, now let's get into your college application. I know it's like April, and maybe that's like not on your mind. You just want to pass your classes right now. It is going to be here before you know it, though, everybody. So here's what colleges are looking for. They want to look at your transcripts. Number one, review those with your advisor, your counselor. Make sure you know what's on it. We find mistakes all the time. I'm really sorry to say. Sometimes it's a mistake that came in from another school if you transferred in. Sometimes it's just a weird oversight, but please look at your transcript and request a copy of that. So you can be looking it over now and work out any issues, or, there's sometimes, like with a lot of our students who have been homeschooled and you got some independent study credit, sometimes that gets messed up a little bit. So review that, and you will need to send those via Overgrad, which I explained earlier, to be sent to colleges in the fall when you're doing your official college applications. So then those SAT, ACT scores. If you are a student who does choose to take one of those tests, you are going to use your College Board account, if it's SAT or the ACT login, to request that scores be sent to colleges. You can't send a score to a college by yourself. It has to be sent through the originating institution, SAT or ACT. So make sure that when you sign up to take it, you have the opportunity to list X number of colleges for free. And then if you want to wait to see what your score is and have it sent later, that's when you have to pay for it to be sent. So put a lot of thought into how you want that process to work, and make sure those colleges are going to get your scores. Again, this may be a moot point if you're choosing a test optional college and you already know that's not test taking, standardized tests are not my forte. I'm not going to do it. So, all right. Couple more things colleges are looking at when you're developing your application: letters of rec. And this is something I need you to do now. So I know it seems really early to be doing a college application. There are some elements you have to be working on right now. One of those is letters of rec. So if you haven't already identified a teacher, a coach, a mentor, employer, counselor that you're going to want to write a letter for you, you should be asking them before you leave for summer break, which is just like a few very short months away. And give them a brag sheet of some kind, something that highlights your qualities and accomplishments. I do have a link to that it'll show up in the final slides that you get. It looks like I lost that link here, but I have sort of a template for what we call a brag sheet. It's just sort of a list of your accomplishments. It could just be a resume, but I really highly recommend giving that teacher, counselor, coach, whoever, a quick fact sheet about yourself, because they, especially if they're a teacher, they're going to be, or a counselor, they get hundreds of requests, and we deal with so many students. It's just really nice to be reminded of who you are and what your best qualities are. This is the one time that it's okay to brag about yourself, and we want you to. Normally in life, that's not an attractive quality, but right here for this scenario, you really need to, overcome maybe that shyness and list some great things about yourself. You will get a better letter. And, ask politely, ask early, which is before summer break. I want to say not all colleges will accept a letter of rec. I had some confusion this last school year with Oregon State University, for example. They don't allow you to submit any letters of recommendation. And that's a new-ish thing that came about because of just a flurry of applicants, lots of people wanting to go to college, and especially with the ACT, SAT requirement gone for Oregon public universities, there's so many more applicants that they're struggling on their admissions team to get through all of them. They won't take your letter of rec. So even if you have a couple of stellar letters, OSU in particular won't even let you submit them. So, don't stress out about that. Still get a couple of letters under your belt, because there probably are other colleges you apply to that do want at least one, and then you have it ready. So, and then your activity resume, that's just, you should be already keeping a list of all the extra things that you do. At some point, you're going to have to write that on a college application, a scholarship application. I know the OSAC application, which is a big scholarship application, has a whole activities sheet you have to fill out. It's hard to sit down all at once in one afternoon and write out, oh, here's everything I've done in the last 4 years of my life and how many hours I spent. So if you could start working on that now and try to jog your memory. Sometimes we forget. I remember sitting down with one of my own children doing their activity sheet. They literally forgot they had done 4-H in 9th grade, because here they are a senior and they hadn't done it since 9th grade, and it wasn't on, my daughter's activity list. I'm like, hey, what about, 4-H, showing your lambs? And she's like, oh, that's so long ago. So you just got to keep things fresh and write it down. Here's an example of an activity chart of the things that are going to be asked on those college apps or scholarship applications. It's going to look something like this. I have a template here for you. I won't click into it, but that's a great template that looks similar to what you see here for you to just start tracking these things. And maybe it will inspire you to go out and do some more things like, oh, I don't have anything in the volunteer category. Shoot, what can I do over the summer? So just so you know, the 3 main categories of activities are extracurriculars, which would be, like sports related or music, theater, whatever, work related, job, internship, and volunteer community service. So those are the 3 buckets that we like you to have at least one item in each: an extracurricular club type activity, a work related activity, and a community service related activity. So that is the goal. All right. One more big thing that colleges look at are essays. And most colleges, not all colleges, but the majority use this application that we call the Common App. It's not all colleges, but we've discovered it's really helpful if we can direct students to the Common App, because so many use it. There's others, a coalition application. There's the, each individual university, sometimes you can only fill out theirs. But this is a good place to start because it mirrors most applications out there. And if you can nail this one, you're really set. So what I suggest over the summer that you do is you look at the Common App prompt, and it hasn't changed. Well, actually last year they did add one new one, but this is the current first year essay prompt. And this was 21-22. So they haven't released the 22-23 yet. Based on what I've seen over the last, 5 to 7 years, they don't change much. It may be exactly these 7 in the fall. So you get to pick one of these prompts and you have to write, I think it's like a 650 word max essay. Somewhere it says it's approximately that. So this is a great thing to be working on over the summer. It's not something you want to dash out even in an evening, not even in 2 or 3 hours. This really is, I think, best done over the course of 1 to 2 months, where you sift through, you kind of let it settle, you think about it. There's a lot of weight placed on your essay, especially for those colleges that no longer look at an SAT or ACT score. They look at this and they look at your transcript, your activities. Sometimes that's it. Sometimes that's all they look at. So it really is important to write a great essay, or it's also called a personal statement. Different colleges might call it something different, but I would take a look at these 7 and start thinking. You'll notice they're all really open-ended. In fact, number 7 is always on the list. Share an essay on any topic of your choice. Can you get any more open-ended than that? So really, you need to think about what tells my story the best, what conveys something unique about me, which one of these 7 prompts lets me tell my best story. That's the one that you need to pick. I can never answer that question for a student. It's like, well, what's the story you want to tell? That's the prompt that you need to pick. You know, what are your strengths? What do you value? What's just something that only you have? And we have a blog post, how to write a story that no one else can tell. That's a great link to check out when you have some extra time. And then finally, I think this is the last thing that we feel like colleges are looking at, and it's this category called demonstrated interest. This is kind of this weird gray area that most students are unaware of. Schools track the interest that you show in them. Do you open their emails? They have like software that tracks. Are they opening the email that is sent to them from XYZ University? Did you ever sign up for an info session? Did you set foot on their campus on an official tour of any kind? Did you, you know, that sort of thing? They track that. And I've done quite a few classes in the college career related field, like graduate level classes. And I remember being shocked at the weight. I can't remember the percentage, but it was like, I don't know, 20% weight. It was huge compared to the other categories that I like. It was higher than, you know, some things that I thought were more important, like a teacher letter of rec or something. I just remember being like, wow, blown away at how much they really put and how easy it is for you as a student to show interest. You know, get on social media. Every college nowadays has, you know, an Instagram or what, I don't even know. I don't even know what y'all are doing these days, but the colleges know, and they really are watching. Do they really want to come here? Because they have all of these metrics they're trying to reach, you know, their calculations on their rankings based on, you know, the higher or the lower their acceptance rate, the higher they're ranked. And they're trying to play this whole game. I don't know, you guys, just game the system and show some interest and you'll move up. That's all I'll tell you. All right. Applying for financial aid is, I think I'm wrapping it with, like, you know, the most not fun. I think I said the SAT is the most not fun, but financial aid. So FAFSA updates this fall, October 2022. A new FAFSA, like the biggest update we've had in probably a decade to FAFSA is coming out. Some good, some bad, depending on your family situation. So there's a shorter application. So yay, good news for that. It goes from 100 questions down to 36 questions. That is good news. So the goal of these major FAFSA overhauls for this coming, for all of you in the room, you are going to file the 23-24 college year FAFSA. That's the year you're going to be going to college. So make sure when you go to file the FAFSA, even though it's going to be the year 2022, you're going to choose to file the FAFSA that says 23-24 college year. It's the year that you're going to be going to college. So just, I've had students fill out the wrong FAFSA year. So I feel like I have to point that out. So shorter, a big name change, EFC, expected family contribution, is not going to be there anymore. It's now going to be called SAI, Student Aid Index. So if those families in the room have had other students that you've filed the FAFSA for, and I always tell them, what's your EFC? That's how we know if you qualify for a Pell Grant. You're going to be looking for a different label. Oh shoot. There, SAI, Student Aid Index. And then the other big one, I only highlighted a couple things that I run into a lot. There are more changes than this, but another big change is for divorced or separated families. The new legislation requires the parent who provides the most financial support to complete the FAFSA instead of the custodial parent. In cases in which the support is 50-50, it defaults to the parent or household with the highest adjusted gross income. That last line is the kicker, because a lot of families are 50-50, a lot of divorced families as far as, you know, custody or support. And so you've always been able to choose the family who made the least amount of money. You can't do that anymore. If it's a 50-50 custody split, you have to default to the parent with the highest AGI. So there's that change. And then the worst for last, I think, the discount for multiple children in college is the last I have heard has been eliminated. I'm still like praying some miracle happens, and by the fall they realize how dumb that is, and like families really, really need that. You know, if you've got multiple kids in college, and I don't know if I'm just speaking for myself here, I personally have multiple kids in college, so this one is like really bothers me. But, you know, as of, you know, the latest updates I've seen, you will no longer get that big discount. Your, you know, EFC would, you know, change dramatically if you had 2 kids in college at the same time. Now it's called your SAI. So let's just all stay tuned. And this is very fluid news. This is the latest, but this is like under legislation as we speak. There still could be changes. So we're just going to keep watching it. Please file the FAFSA. It will be what it is. Just, you know, do your best to be diligent and do your filing as soon as you can. It opens October 1st. There you go. So, all right. So what you can do today, you can do the FAFSA forecaster that predicts how much, if you possibly qualified for a federal grant, which is called a Pell Grant, and subsidized, unsubsidized loans. A lot of families, I want to put a plug for the FAFSA, even for families who feel like, well, I'm not going to file the FAFSA because I know I won't qualify. Okay, that's fine, but filing the FAFSA is the only way to access federal student loans, which are the best student loans that you can possibly get. The best interest rates, the best repayment plans. It is from the federal government. You can't access that unless you file the FAFSA. Even if you didn't qualify for a Pell Grant, you could still qualify for some federal loans or the Parent Plus loans. So that's a plug for, you know, filing the FAFSA anyway. And it, even if you didn't qualify for a federal loan, it could still put you in a qualifying category for scholarships, or definitely for the Oregon Promise, which also requires the FAFSA, which has a totally different income threshold than the federal. So just a big plug to please file it, even if you think you don't qualify for federal aid. The other thing you can do today in the next coming months, meet with financial sponsors. That's a real fancy way to say mom and dad and grandpa and aunt and uncle and anybody I know that might contribute to my future education. Find out, make sure you're on the same page. Maybe there's like an expectation that's not accurate. Maybe you think your parents are going to do this and they're actually thinking they're going to do that. Just trying to be transparent with what everybody's expecting. It can be an awkward conversation to go into, but do your very best to just approach that as honestly and objectively and, you know, without expectation, but just you need to end up knowing what you can hope for from a parent. I've had to do this with my own children, so I know the awkwardness, and it's best just to be upfront and figure that piece out. And then you can actually start now with applying for scholarships. So I do have a link here. I won't open that right now, but that's the OSAC scholarship application that you can start now. You can't submit it until, you know, this coming school year in the spring, but you can start the application now. And there are also a lot of others that you can start ahead of time. Oregon Goes to College, Oregon Gear Up. So I'll have those links in the blog that I post as well. So juniors, you can start on a lot right now to make your September, October go a little bit smoother. All right, other things that you can be doing, read our monthly newsletters and our blog. And we have checklists on our College Career website, and checklists in every monthly email that we send out from the College and Career Center here. And then, you know, try to set up a regular time to work on college applications and scholarships and make that maybe your part-time summer job. You know, you need to get through this semester. That's in this term. That's priority number one, is to, you know, finish really strong in your classes. And then, you know, set your sights. If you're a college-bound student, you know, figure out how you're going to use your time over the summer. So think we got to the end of it. Right now, do not email Allison Steife just because she's not checking her email yet, but email myself, Jennifer Tracewell. It's jtracewell@bakercharters.org, or Monica, Shelley, Jamie are in the room. And then also, you guys all know who your regional counselor is, or your Baker Early College advisor. You know who those people are. So please do not hesitate to reach out to them for your specific scenarios and questions. And myself, we are all here to support you, and we're cheering you on. Being a junior in high school is a big deal. It's a big time of life and lots of decisions to be made. And yeah, we want to help walk you through it. All right, well, that is all I have. I'm going to pause the recording and then open it up for any questions, comments from the gallery. All right. I'll stop sharing. Yeah, thank you very much.